Good day. Welcome back to, well, a completely different kind of video as you can see. Today I'm going to show you how to set up and obtain head tracking in War Thunder for both PC and console players. Although PC has way better options, and I do not recommend this option for PC. There are cheaper and much better alternatives, even free alternatives that PC has that console players just cannot get. I will list some of the most popular options for PC in the description. And honestly, I would just recommend just not even watching this video and looking down at the description. But I mean, if you are curious and you like my content, then enjoy. But in this video, I will be showing you everything you'll need, how to set it up, and how to fix a couple of bugs that you might have. First things first, for those of you who don't know what head tracking is, the term head tracking is essentially being able to free look while having full control over your vehicle. So if I move my head up or down, left or right, my in-game pilot will do the same without losing, full control over my vehicle. To do this on console, especially Xbox, you're going to need something called an air mouse. Now, what's an air mouse? An air mouse is, well, it says it in the name, it is pretty much a mouse that you move midair. Think of it as a Wii remote, but instead of using IR sensors and a sensor bar to know its relative position, it uses gyroscopes and accelerometers to, well, know its position. Now, I know this isn't exactly head tracking as it doesn't track your head, but it is essentially the same thing. Now, I say nearly because as you tilt your head, it won't actually tilt in-game. That is one thing you're gonna have to get used to. Now, setting this up is fairly easy. You're just gonna have to tweak a couple settings and adjust things to, well, your liking. Now, I know this might look complex at first, but I promise it's fairly easy. I'll explain everything in full, what to do and how to do it, but first, you need an air mouse. Now, not every air mouse is the same. You'll need an air mouse that has 2.4 gigahertz transmission, sometimes labeled 2.4G. I understand this might sound like a complex random mumble jumble number, but in simple terms, it's just the radio signal that makes it possible to use, well, most wirelessly connected devices, like your Xbox controller or your PlayStation remote, including, well, most Bluetooth devices. Now, I only tested two different air mouses, one being the BPR1S Plus remote control, the $30 option, and the other costing only $10 called Air Remote Mouse. And I can say for sure the cheaper option takes the cake. Now, while the BPR1S whatever does have 5 gigahertz transmission, you definitely don't need that. A quick list of pros and cons that I found was that the expensive option often desyncs. It's also really sensitive to movement and it doesn't turn off. You can turn it on, but you can't turn it off. Now, I know the cheaper option might be more girthy, but the movement is way smoother, connects instantly without needing to pair it, and most importantly, doesn't desync nearly as fast. So for the sake of this video's simplicity and length, I'll be showing this one, the cheaper option. To get this set up, you'll need to plug the USB device that comes with the remote into your console. Any available slot will work. If you don't have any more available USB slots, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You'll just have to purchase a USB extension hub. This will allow you to have more USB slots. I'll link a few options in the description. Once it's plugged in, it's ready to go. Simply press the power button and it's on. But if you're using a different model, please refer to the instructions that came with said remote. Now, at this stage, it's not ready for free looking. We're gonna have to tweak a couple settings and maybe bind one or two things. To reliably use the air mouse as head tracking, you'll need to keep your free look button, as this will act as a reset center button, and I'll go into more detail once we get into our settings. Now, before we get started on our settings, you're going to want to mount your remote to either a hat or a headset. Some methods include using double-sided tape, hair ties, Velcro, rubber bands, or just duct taping the whole thing. Once you have it mounted in the center of whatever's on your head, we'll create a custom game to make testing our settings easier. Quick tip, it's better to load up on the runway first, because if you crash while in midair, it'll boot you from your settings list and you'll have to respawn before getting back into them. It's super annoying. Okay, now that we're sitting on runway, make sure your mouse control on the remote is turned off, as navigating the settings with it on can be difficult. First, go to controls, and in aircraft or helicopter, whatever you prefer, you'll switch control mode to none, as relative mode will control your whole plane and view mode will force you out of sync if you look too far off screen. Next, we'll go over to common, down to view controls, and bind mouse look activation to your free look button. For me, it's this one, as I'm using the Thrustmaster T-Fight. Before I switched to a flight stick though, my controller's free look button was pressing in on the left joystick. And before that, I think it was the D-pad? Not sure. Anyhow, next, you'll want to switch mouse smoothing to yes, and copy these 4 settings: aim sensitivity, camera mouse look speed, camera smoothness, and sensitivity and zoom. Gamepad aim sensitivity is for joysticks only, so we don't need to worry about that. Aim sensitivity is just how sensitive the mouse movement is compared to how much or little you move the air mouse. Camera mouse look speed will adjust how fast the camera will move relative to where you look. Camera smoothness is essentially the delay of your speed. So if your movement feels delayed, you'll need to turn it up or down some. And finally, sensitivity and zoom is how sensitive all these act while in camera zoom mode. These percentages seem to work best for me, but depending on the size of your screen and how far you need to turn your head, you'll need to adjust these to your preferred settings. Say your screen is smaller, you won't need to look as far left or right as I would. So you'd probably want to increase your look speed and possibly your sensitivity, or vice versa. Now, back out of these settings and make sure the air mouse is on and the mouse movement is activated. Now, before pressing and holding the free look button, make sure you're looking at the center of the screen. Now that your head is centered, press and hold the free look button and just look around. It might feel a little weird at first, but just give it some time to get used to. If you look too far off screen, you'll notice looking back at the center is no longer the center. So simply releasing the free look button and sending your head to the center of the screen and reactivating this button fixes everything. This is that reset button part I had mentioned earlier. It's easy to get excited and look too far off screen, but if it keeps happening to you, you might need to adjust your camera speed to a lower percentage. But with time, things will start to feel natural. Now, I have heard of some people getting motion sick, and me personally, I haven't experienced that for myself. But I would believe if this does happen to you, I would suggest you're moving out of sync with your in-game pilot. Simply adjust your camera smoothness until it feels balanced. Now, a few tips and tricks to have full motion would be to bind head movement buttons. These settings are located in Controls, Aircraft, down to Camera Controls, and right here at the bottom. These binds allow you to look over the nose of your plane and even around the seats. For most people on a flight stick, it's easiest to bind these to your hat. Head movement left, right, and head movement up, down are the most important ones. Head movement left would be the minimum value and right would be the maximum value. You can bind these to your heart's desire, but I never had them binded until just recently. I also don't have head movement down button, as for me personally, I felt it was unnecessary. Unfortunately, there is no way to smooth it out when looking up, left, or right, so we're just gonna need to deal with that. But there you go. Now you have some redneck head tracking. So get in the skies, get in those 1v1s, and adjust things to your liking, and you're on your way to upping your game to the next level. Thank you all for watching, and if you stuck to the end, consider giving this video a like. Maybe share it to a friend who's trash and could possibly use this to up their game. Other than that, thank you all, and have a good one. Peace.